Hello, folks, and welcome back to Chris Wine Africa. Well, we're done and dusted and approaching a week since the election is concluded in South Africa, the 2021 municipal elections. The elections the African National Congress didn't want to happen. Well, we know why they didn't want it to happen, because they were going to get shellacked, and they got shellacked, absolutely pummeled at the polls. But they weren't alone. They weren't alone. Despite the efforts by the Patriotic Alliance, the official opposition, to put lipstick on a pig, they took an even bigger hit. That's right, folks. Here's some election analysis of the actual numbers and the impact of what happened in this disastrous election of 2021. Doesn't matter what the ANC says about how great a campaign they conducted. It was abysmal. Doesn't matter how much the DA crows about winning in KZN, taking municipality there. The bottom line is this. Both parties screwed up royally. Why? Because to some degree, they're both very arrogant and take their voters for granted. Now, to be fair, the Democratic Alliance lost a lot of votes in Gauteng to two different parties in particular. ActionSA, the party that is around the banner of Herman Mashaba, former DA member, and also to the Freedom Front Plus, who ran the best campaign by far in this municipal election. But none of these parties did a particularly good job, even though the Freedom Front Plus did well. Let's take a look at this, folks. Look at these figures compared to 2016 to 2021. Now, the DA will tell you that what matters is 2019. It does not. That's a national election. National and municipal elections are far different events. As we've seen historically, only 31 to 38% of eligible voters actually rock up at the polls on municipal elections. And we saw a figure even lower than that in this election. But in 2016, the ANC managed to hoodwink or convince nearly 8 million rubes to vote for them, 7,978,983 valid votes cast for them. In 2021, 5,291,101. Out of 39 million eligible voters, 26 million registered voters. That's minus 2.5 million, 2,587,882, or minus 32% of their vote total from the last time. Now, the total that they lost equates to more votes than any other party received in this election. Think about that, folks. The ANC lost more votes from 2016 to 2021 in municipal elections than any other party got in this election. The Democratic Alliance, which also shed a horrible amount of votes, got 2,526,862, a loss of 1,478,003 votes, or 37%. So while folks are crowing in the Democratic Alliance about, wow, the ANC is below 50%, and other parties, smaller parties, we can bring the ANC below 50%, they're all excited about that. That isn't germane. What is germane here is that in a municipal election, the African National Congress lost 32%. The Democratic Alliance, the official opposition, did even worse, losing 37%. Now, for their part, the economic freedom fighters are running around and making bones about how it wasn't the best election, but they did okay. They shouldn't be upset about anything. They lost only 23,000 votes. Given that the turnout was so much lower than it was in 2016, that's not bad, minus 2%. The Inkatha Freedom Party, whom I've complimented on doing a great job in picking up votes, actually, when you look at the numbers, didn't do much better at all. In raw vote, they only gained 6,861 votes, or 1%. The real winner, winner, chicken dinner, the real dark horse here that came in massively is the Freedom Front Plus. The Freedom Front Plus polled only 115,993 votes back in 2016, but in 2021, 276,136 votes. That's a gain of 160,143, 138% gain. That's massive. 138% gain. And we see where it plays out and where it matters. Not the percentage of votes, not actually the number of votes, although that's important as a barometer. Where it matters is how many seats these parties win in councils, in the municipalities and the metropolitans across South Africa. And this is where we see the real damage. The African National Congress of 2016 had an insurmountable lead of 5,163 council seats. They lost 618 seats. They now have only 4,545 seats. They controlled outright 161 councils in 2016. Today, they control outright just 122. That's quite a comeuppance. But for their part, the Democratic Alliance did even worse than the ANC. They keep talking about the ANC doing abysmally, but no one's pointing out the fact that the DA really scored an own goal here. They went from 1,782 councillors down to just 1,484, a loss of 298 or 17%, the worst performance of any party in this election. They controlled outright in 2016 19 councils. Now they control just 11. The mission here was to take over councils from the ANC, not have hung councils, of which there are currently 66, which will lead to bizarre, probably dirty, underhanded coalitions just to govern municipalities and metros in this country. Only 11 cities are controlled now by the Democratic Alliance. They went backwards by a wide measure. The economic freedom fighters, for their part, gained 29%. An additional 219 seats. Not bad, considering they lost 23,800 votes. They picked up 219 additional seats. Why? Because proportional representation gave them advantage as the Democratic Alliance and the ANC numbers dropped precipitously. But the EFF controls no councils whatsoever. No councils whatsoever. The Inkatha Freedom Party gained, even though they only had a small jump in votes. They went from 432 to 544 seats. That's a gain of 112 or 26%. The EFF at plus 29, the IFP at plus 26. But the real winner here, once again, is the Freedom Front Plus, which had merely 67 seats after the 2016 elections. They won some of the by-elections, but the figure we're going with is 2016 because that's what's relevant. In this election, 5 years later, they now have 220 seats, although the Independent Electoral Commission keeps listing 221, then it lists 220, so I don't know what the actual figure is. Let's go with the lower figure of 220. That's 153 seats additional, or 228% gain. Now that's a gain. This video has not talked about ActionSA or the Patriotic Alliance, who've entered this election and done reasonably well. That's not what this is about. This is to talk about the parties that performed in 2016 and what they did in 2021. The clear losers are the 66 hung municipalities and metros across South Africa, as they'll have to deal with backroom horse trading that will be taking place now. What a sad, sad situation for the citizens of South Africa. Many put lipstick on this pig and say it's wonderful. Parties will be held accountable. We've seen what happens in fractious coalitions. Parties that are honest have to be beholden to corrupt parties that want deputy mayors and want this position all for their self-aggrandizement, for the paycheck, and not for the people. And we'll see more of that, and life will become more miserable in South Africa, unfortunately. Hopefully I'm wrong there, but I wouldn't hold my breath on Chris being wrong on this one. Hey, folks, if you're not a subscriber to Chris White Africa, why don't you become one? Smash that button right down there and become a subscriber. We'd appreciate your following here. You get objective, honest, independent analysis of events in Africa, in Southern Africa, and especially in South Africa from an experienced Africanist who doesn't have a dog in the fight. Thanks a lot, folks. Cheers and take care of yourself. God bless.